So it is estimated that 6,000 women reach menopause every day in the U.S. While more women are talking about it now, including celebrities, we still have a long way to go when it comes to supporting women through this important life stage. From adolescence and puberty through the reproductive years and beyond, it is key that we understand the stages of gynecological health. Dr. Jillian Clare joins me now. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So when it comes to gynecology, what does it mean to offer full spectrum care?
Sure, so that means taking care of the reproductive system throughout the entire lifespan, whether that's issues with periods, with birth control, with prenatal care and delivering babies, menopause, and surgical gynecology.
It's funny that you say that because I still refer to going to the doctor. I gotta go see my OB. I don't need an OB anymore. I'm not having babies. I need a GYN.
Yes.
So it is important. And gynecological health starts in adolescence.
Yeah.
Let us discuss the various stages as I watch my daughter get there.
Yeah, so in adolescence, this when girls are getting their first period. Average age of that is about 9. So we've seen it get
9?
younger and younger. Yeah.
Okay.
But really important life stage and helps girls develop their confidence if they have good periods and get them through school. Then in your reproductive years, you're having babies or not having babies and dealing with that. You're also seeing issues like fibroids come up and endometriosis, other issues with reproduction. And then finally menopause, which is when that whole system shuts down and the process goes in reverse.
It's so great being a woman.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it really is. But it's why we have important doctors like you to help us kind of get through. I do want to ask you a quick question before we move on. A lot of parents wonder this. My mom had me at the gynecologist around 16. What is a good age my daughter or anyone's daughter should see a gynecologist?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think a lot of parents have that question. I think it's a great idea for someone to see their gynecologist for the first time around the time that they're having that first period.
Oh, okay.
So, 9, 10, 11 years old, because the first few years of a menstrual cycle can be really difficult to get through.
Yeah.
So meet a gynecologist, learn that it's not a scary place to be, that we're there to support you.
Yeah.
It's also a good time to make sure you're getting your HPV vaccine and getting set up for good life. So I recommend that girls first come right around the time of their first period. Again, maybe around 16 or 17, and then once they hit their 20s is when they should be coming every year.
Okay, good to know. That is really good to know. What are some of the main gynecological issues that patients may face?
Yeah, issues with periods are probably the most common thing that we see, whether that's not having enough, having too much, fibroids, polyps, lots of issues with periods, painful periods.
Lasting too long.
Yes, exactly. And then we see sexual health issues, so whether that's pain, sexually transmitted infections, those are probably the two most common things we see.
And it's so important it comes to you because I know that a lot of times STIs can also lead to other diseases, right?
Yeah, exactly. STIs can lead to infertility if they're not treated soon enough, which is a huge thing.
So let's talk about some of that preventative care. You talked about HPV vaccines. What other preventative care can we see done to us at the gynecologist?
Yeah, HPV vaccine is a big thing. With that comes your pap smears, which start at age 21 and then continue every 3 to 5 years until age 65, depending on your personal risk factors. So that screens for cervical cancer.
Okay.
A yearly wellness visit to screen for endometrial cancer, ovarian cancer, breast cancer. All very important parts of preventative health.
I wanted to go back to that we were talking about in menopause. My producer and I, we talked about it at the beginning of the show, and because we really like talking about it more and more, and I feel like more people are sharing this most important thing that happens to every woman.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Like there's no avoiding it. So why do you think we're finally being more open about it? And are you seeing more of that?
I am seeing more of it. And I think it's just a general acceptance that we can talk about our bodies and things that we're going through and we don't have to hide it. So definitely more women are talking about it. Women are feeling more empowered to ask for solutions and not just, take a one-size-fits-all approach to dealing with their symptoms. So seeing a lot of patients ask for, more natural therapies or alternative methods besides just hormone replacement, which absolutely has a place. But there's a lot of options out there, and I think people are empowered to ask for it.
How do you know when it's time to go, let's say, perimenopause? I mean, I know there's been a lot of misconceptions about it. I've heard a lot of different things like, oh, you're probably starting it now or then or when. What are some good guidelines to kind of go to your gynecologist and say, hey, I think think I'm there.
Yeah. If it's affecting your quality of life, it's time to go. So if you're not sleeping enough, if your mood is impacting your work and relationships, if your sex life has changed in a way that you don't like, those are all good times to start talking about it. And that can happen as early as the early 40s.
So the mood is definitely a thing.
Yes, definitely.
Why does that happen?
Shifts in hormones, we think. Something that we don't entirely understand yet, but we think the changing hormone levels have a lot to do with our emotional regulation.
I see. All right, before I let you go, how do you ensure patient-centered care when someone comes to see you?
Yeah, I always like to start with the conversation and ask what brought them here, what to see me, why is, what is going on in their life that I can help with. So try to get a sense of their whole person and, how best can we get them to a place that they want to be. Try to demystify what it means to be at the gynecologist and what's going to happen, leave plenty of room for questions, and make sure that they leave with a good experience.
I feel it feels good to be heard as a patient, so I'm really grateful for what you do with that. Thank you so much for sharing all this and explaining things and making us all feel better about certain things that are going on in their lives. I appreciate it, Dr. Jillian
Thank
Clare.
you for having me.
And to schedule a gynecology appointment with Virginia Mason Franciscan Health, head to the website you see right there on your screen. And ladies, let's not keep symptoms and worries hidden or silent. Let's talk to each other. Our family, our friends, our doctors, we are all a team, all right?
Special presentation of New Day Northwest, sponsored by Virginia Mason Franciscan Health.